Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. So we are the Group 5 presenter. Today, we will be discussing our assigned topic all about changes in personal status. So first, I will be the first presenter. By the way, I'm Ayan Hishanos and I'm going to discuss my assigned topic. What is personal status mean? Personal status this refers to the current employment conditions or classifications of an employee. Example, if regular ba or temporary ba ang usa ka employee sa organizations. In short, it describes the employee's present role and situations in the workplace. So, why changes in personal status? Changes in personal status means any update or shift of an employee's situations or conditions within a company. So moving on. So let us know what leaders view on a promotions. The first is encourage initiatives and ambitions. This is where an employees are more willing to take actions and aim higher. Of course, in an organization, if ang isa ka organization manager is kabalus lang mudala sa ilahang ka ng mga employee, they are good in their employee how to manage. So ang employees mas ganahan na sila mo aim higher if yun na encourage na sila, gina-motivate na sila sa ilahang buhaton. Kaduha is reduces frustrations and complaints. This is where when people see fair opportunities, they feel more satisfied. So of course, in organizations or in any field of or anything in the field of organizations or in a company, when an employee is nakita nila na fair opportunities, mas ganahan sila, mas satisfied sila ana na mo work it more. So moving on, the purpose and advantages of a promotion. So promotion is an important aspect of personal management as it deals with upward movement of employees within the organizations. It reflects recognitions of their skills, of performance, and potentials, while also bringing positive changes to both individual and company. So here are some purposes and advantages of a promotions. First is motivates employees towards a better work. When employees try harder when they know effort can lead to promotion. So of course, as I've said earlier, is mas mag-aim og higher, mas mag-try harder ang isa ka employee if they know that their effort can lead to promotions, which help them to motivate more to work better para ma-promote sila sa ilahang job. Are types of a promotions, and those are up and out promotions, and dry promotions, and paper promotions. So let us know what is up or out promotions. Up or out promotions is where the employee must get promoted or otherwise they lost their jobs and mean to work somewhere else. Like for example, in a sales company, you are a new salesperson, so the company told you that you must reach a certain sales target within the year to get promoted. So if ma-fail ka, dili na mo ma-target na sales within that year, so you might be failed the company or you have to leave to find another work. Like for examples, organizations, if the manager gihatagan kag task na dapat humanunan nimo siya, dapat within this week, within this month mahumanan nimo siya para maka for you to get promoted. Pag once dili na nimo siya pag once ma-fail ka og dili na nimo siya makabot, so you may lost your job. So mo na siya ang one of the types of the promotions. So another is the dry promotions. Ang dry promotions is the employees get higher job title or positions but not increase in salary. Example ani is you are an employee staff member. So example ani is kuan ka office staff ka member, then you are promoted to from assistant manager to manager, but your salary and benefits stay the same. Kumbaga, you are just promoted your positions but no increase in salaries. More gihapon ta yung salary, ang nausab lang is you are promoted with your positions or your job but not your salary. So in short, ang up or out salary is promotions or leave. That ang dry promotions is title only change but no pay raise. So lastly is ang paper promotions. Ang kining paper promotions is common siya sa mga government. Like for example, the employee is officially na siya promoted on paper, but continuing working in another department is still receive the same summer salary from their current roles. Kumbaga officially na promote into other kanang position in your job, pero your work is still hapon working just like in another department. So in short, kining paper promotions is kanang promotions on record but not in practice number. So moving on, lastly, let us know the basic promotions. And the basic promotions has also three types. So first is seniority as basis meaning. So meaning ani is promotions is given mainly to employees who have served the company the longest. Kumbaga ang gibasihan lang diri as a seniority as basis meaning is ang longest service o siya ka employee. If taas na siya ang iyahang pag-serve, sa taas na ang time na iyahang na ang consume sa pag as employee, so mas na siya tendency na ma-promote. There also advantages and disadvantages. So ang advantages when seniority as basis meaning in promotions is very easy to measure. It also reduces turnover because employee know if they'll be rewarded with time, and keep senior workers satisfied as they feel secure about their promotion. So advantages para sa mga dugay na nakaserve because masatisfy sila na security of their future. Murag na manang kumbaga ba, mas advantage sila kay mas hatagag basis ang mga nakaserve na in a company with the longest time.
Transfer. A transfer is a form of internal mobility within an organization involving the lateral movement of an employee from one job to another without any change in pay, status, responsibilities. It is a common practice in organization and is defined as a shift to a new job that is substantially equal to the old one in terms of compensation, position, and duties. Reason of transfer: prevents favoritism, nepotism, and excessive influence. Reduce monotony and encourage accountability. Avoids overdependence on one employee. Promotes transparency and fairness. Prevent misuse of position or authority.
Demotion. Demotion is the reverse of promotion, involving a reduction in rank, pay, status, and responsibilities. It assigns an employee to a lower position with less authority and requires act of diplomacy, as it is often harder implement than dismissal. So, demotion is a lowering of an employee's rank, pay, responsibilities, or status within an organization. Or let's say, kabaliktaran siya sa promotion. It is essentially the reverse of promotion. Here's some common causes of demotion. Or na siya ay upat na causes sa demotion. First is breach of discipline. A breach of discipline can lead to demotion as form of punishment. Organizations need to maintain discipline to function effectively, and demotion can serve as a punitive action to deter employees from violating company rules and regulations. This ensures that employees respect and adhere to the established code of conduct. The second one is inadequacy of knowledge. If an employee is not competent enough to perform their job or meet the required standards, demotion might be necessary. This can happen when an employee lacks the skill or knowledge needed for their current role. Third one is inability to cope with change. So, rapid advancement in technology and work method requires employees to adapt. If they cannot adjust to these changes due to lack of skills, education, or other reasons, demotion may be considered. And last is organizational reorganization. Sometimes companies undergo reorganization due to mergers, downsizing, or restructuring. This can lead to elimination of position or changes in departmental structures, resulting in some employees being demoted to lower positions until things stabilized. This demotion aren't always a reflection of an employee's performance. So next one is termination and separation. So termination is the end of work relationship when an employee leaves or discharge. It may occur due to misconduct such as breach of responsibility, disclosure of confidential information, prolonged absence, refusal to perform duties, or crimes like theft, fraud, or embezzlement that harm the organization's reputation. So there are types of termination. The first one is involuntary termination. Means employer asks the employee to leave the organization. So there are it can be two ways. First one is cause termination, also called constructive dismissal. So when an employer makes fundamental negative changes to an employee job or work environmental breaching the original employment terms, this often forces the employee to resign, and it must be legally valid to be organized or reorganized as a breach of contract. The next one is the no-fault termination. So when an employee are dismissed due to no fault of their own. So common reason for such termination including the following. So downturn in business, mergers and acquisition, organization goes out of business, reorganization or restructuring, financial difficulties, plant obsolescence or relocation, and technological development. So the second one types of termination is the voluntary termination, which is when an employee chooses to leave the organization. So this include first resignation. Employee formally resign. Once accept, it cannot be withdrawn with management approval. The second one is job abandonment. Employee fails to report to work without authorization for a set period. And the last one is retirement. Employee leaves upon reaching retirement age, mutually agreed by both employer and employee.
Today, I will be discussing an important topic in labor and employment, which is downsizing and termination of employees. In many companies, there are situations where management is forced to reduce the workforce due to economic difficulties, technological changes, or organizational restructuring. While these decisions are often made for the survival of the businesses, they greatly affect employees and their families. In this report, I will explain the factors behind downsizing, the alternatives that companies may use to avoid layoffs, the concept of separation pay, and the provisions of the law such as Article 284 which deals with termination due to disease. This discussion will help us better understand both the rights of employees and the responsibilities of employers during such situations. So, factors behind downsizing leading to layoff. Downsizing is a process where a company reduces its workforce. There are several factors that lead to these decisions. First is decline or crisis in the firm, like financial losses or poor performance pushes companies to cut costs. For example, a local Iloilo-based sugar mill, due to a sharp drop in sugar prices and increased competition from imported sweeteners, experiences significant financial losses. To stay afloat, the company implement a downsizing strategy, laying off administrative staff and reducing the number of field workers. Second, technological advances. When machines or software can replace manual work, fewer employees are needed. Example, a BPO company in Iloilo City invests an AI-powered customers service chatbot. As the chatbots handle an increases number of customer inquiries, the company reduces its customer service representatives workforce, resulting in layoffs. And lastly, third, organizational restructuring, where the company reorganizes department to become more efficient, may also result in layoffs. Example, a large retail chain with branches across Western Visayas decide to consolidate its regional operations. The company closes several smaller branches in Iloilo and consolidates them into a larger, more efficient distribution center in Pavia. This restructuring leads to layoff among store managers, sales staff, and warehouse personnel. So, here are brief explanation for each item listed in the image. Number 1 is freeze hiring. Freeze hiring temporarily stop recruiting and hiring new employees. This helps reduce costs by not adding new salaries to the payroll. Second is restrict overtime. Limit or eliminate overtime hours for current employees. This can lower labor costs but may also affect productivity if workload demands are not reduced. Retrain, redeploy for each item listed in the image. First is freeze hiring. Temporarily stop recruiting and hiring new employees. This helps reduce costs by not adding new salaries to the payroll. Second is restrict overtime. Limit or eliminate overtime hours for current employees. This can lower labor costs but may also affect productivity if workload demands are not reduced. Third is retrain, redeploy. Invest in training employees for new roles within the company or relocate them to different departments with their skills are needed. This maximizes existing talent and reduces the need for layoffs. D. Switch to the job sharing. Allow 2 or more employees to share the responsibilities of one full-time position. This can prevent layoffs and provide employees with more flexible work arrangement. E. Use unpaid vacations. Offer employees the option to take unpaid time off. This can help reduce payroll costs while allowing employees to retain their jobs. F. Use a shorter work week. Reduce the number of hours employees work each week, like from 40 to 32 hours, while also reducing their pay accordingly. This can help avoid layoffs by spreading the available work among more employees. G. Using pay reductions. Implement temporary or permanent pay cuts for employees. This can be a difficult measure but may be necessary to avoid layoffs. Next, use obstacles. offers employees extended periods of unpaid leave, typically for several months of a year. This can provide employees with opportunities for personal or professional development while temporarily reducing payroll costs. Lastly is implement early retirement programs offer incentive for eligible employees to retire early. This can reduce the workforce size and lower payroll costs, but it may also result in loss of valuable skills and experience. Slide 24, separation pay. When the layoff cannot be avoided, companies are required to provide separation pay. This is the financial assistance given to employees who lose their jobs due to retrenchment, closure, business, or curable disease. The law states that employees should receive the equivalent of the month of pay of one half month pay for every year or service whichever is higher. This serves as a form of support while the employee looks for another job or source of income. Slide 25, Article 284, this is as ground for termination. Lastly, under Article 284 of the Labor Code, an employer may terminate an employee who is suffering from disease. This is only allowed if the illness makes it impossible for the employee to continue working or if their condition is harmful to themselves and their co-workers. That's all. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. My name is Jesper Oyanon. We tackle about my report is exit interview. So, exit interview. Exit is a viable tool for both company and department employee. Also, its affected largest depends on its conducted. However, there always risks become a formally, especially if the company doesn't act on the feedback or if the conversation feels too scripted or personal. Alright, so there are four types of method exit interview. So first is in-person exit interview. So the employee can feel comfortable expressing their thoughts and emotions of term correctly is give the company and change to truly listen to the employee and experience to show that company values the person time and feedback. The second is telephone exit interview. So telephone exit interview. So to gather the feedback from the department employee about their experience, reasons for leaving, and a suggestion they have for improving workplace, improving improve workplace. Atong kan ba kanang sa tawag nga na kanang workplace na to improving. So number 3 is paper or pencil exit interviews. So in paper pencil interviews is a method of gather feedback from the employee who is leaving organization conducting through online survey o email mga something kuan kanang mga social media questionnaires or one-on-one interview. The employee fill out the feedback manually on paper. So ang kay paper ang pencil interview kay mag congruent unsay mga social media unsay hatag nimo na organize unsay mga debate nimo na unsay thinking jud nimo. Next is online exiting interview. So it's a digital platform or software tool designed to streamline process. So for employee leaving a company, typical includes an automatic process for gathering feedback. So in storing responses securely and generally reports for HR or management and asset plans. That's all. That's all. Thank you.
Hi, good day everyone, and my name is Michelle Pilare. Let's tackle about Article 280, Section 9, Termination Pay. It says here that if employment ends due to labor saving devices or redundancy, the employee is entitled to at least 1 month's salary per year of serving, counting 6 months as 1 year. So, to explain further, if your job ends because of the company used new technology or had to cut back, Article 280, Section 9 says you're entitled to termination pay. Basically, it's like getting at least 1 month's salary for every year you work there. And if you work there for at least 6 months in a year, they could count that as one full year. So now let's tackle about Article 280, Section 14, which is the retirement benefits. So it goes like this. A retired employee is under a valid plan, agreement, or employer policy is entitled to the retirement benefits provided, or at least 1.5 salary per year of service, counting 6 months as 1 year as well, whichever is higher. So if you retire and you've covered by a company retirement plan or agreement, you are entitled to whatever benefits plan that says you get. But here's the thing, if the plan give you less than half a month's salary for every year you've worked there, counting 6 months as 1 year, then you're legally entitled to at least that much. And when they say half month's salary, that includes your basic pay, a portion of your 13-month pay, and a cash value of 5 service incentives leave days. Thank you.
Good day everyone, especially to you, Sir Chrismar. So first of all, I would like to apologize for the background noise because nag-concert ang mga silingan and I really cannot do anything about it. So I am Micaela D. Barrete, the last reporter of Group 7, and right at this moment, I will be discussing the types of employment. So we all know that employment is any arrangement where a person performs work for an employer in exchange for a salary or a pay. And there are various types of employments. We have the regular employment, the probationary employment, part-time employment, commission-based employment, casual employment, as well as the contractual employment. So let's start with regular employment. So regular employment, it is where the work is permanent. And this is where employees perform tasks that are necessary to the business. So example of this is the full-time workers sa atuang school. Well, we have some instructors na part-time and we also have some instructors na full-time. And we also have the managers, the cashiers on grocery stores. As long as they are full-time, they are considered to be under the regular employment. So the next one is the probationary employment. This is what they call the trial period to test if a worker will qualify as a regular. So it is most common on BPO industries because I once was under probation when I worked in a BPO company. So that time, I was being tested if I would qualify to be a regular worker. And then the next one is the part-time employment. So from the word itself, part-time, dili siya full-time. And the work is usually fewer hours or days and dili siya full-time. Okay, so we have some instructors also sa school na part-time lang. And ang ilahang work is they only work when flexible sa ilahang time. And the next one is the commission-based employment. So from the word itself, commission-based, it means that ang pay, it depends sa ilahang sales or sa income na generate sa ilahang business. So in other words, dili fixed ang ilahang salary. And it is also most common sa real estates. Mas common siya sa real estate agents or sa brokers. Kaya ang ilahang bayad or ang ilahang pay gikan siya sa ilahang sale na mahimo. And the next one is the casual employment. So, kanisya, it is a temporary work for a specific period or season. And I've known some companies na they hire workers when it comes to Christmas season or summer season. Basta, it's just all about season. And I mean, kana mo good na time, it is where need nila og daghan na manpower or workforce because maybe due to some daghan na buyers. And then the last one is the contractual employment. So contractual employment, it is where ang work, it is just for a fixed term or fixed period lang, and it is usually not exceeding 6 months. So we have this company there in Ula, and it is called Maylong Company. So ang ilahang company, it just operates during durian season. So probably it starts from August up until September lang, because ang ilahang company nag-run lang siya when it comes to durian season, and the season of durian is usually around August to September. And if wala na yung durian and wala na mag-supply sa ilahang durian, then the operation stops and magbalik na po siya continue on the next years. So, under this contractual employment, we have what we call the labor contracting and the labor-only contracting. So, ang labor contracting, it is when a company hires a contractor to do a job, and ang contractor, he or she is the one responsible for the workers. And that is legal in the Philippine setting. On the other hand, we have this labor-only contracting. So, ang labor-only contracting, it is when a contractor nagasupply siya og worker, and ang mga worker nagahimog task na part sa company or sa main business. And that is so illegal because ang contractor man good, he or she only acts as a middleman, and ang responsible for the workers is ang company supposedly. But here, ang company nagalikay siya sa iyahang obligations to hire, sa iyahang responsibility to hire regular workers. So in short, ang contracting, it is legal if the contractor is independent, if siya ang responsible sa iyahang workers. And it is also illegal if ang contractor nag-aakla siya as a middleman for workers. So, that's all on my part. That ends my report. Thank you so much for listening and have a good day ahead.